I'm Katie with Modern Textiles, and today we're going to make our free loose seal tote. So what you need is going to be 1 yard of exterior fabric. You're going to need half of a yard of a canvas for the exterior pocket, and then you're going to need half a yard for your interior lining, an 18-inch zipper, as well as a couple of handles, and then some decor bond to give this a little bit more structure. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and get to cutting all the pieces we need. So if you want to grab the PDF down in the show notes, it's available there for the free download. And then I'm just going to cut everything we need. All right, now that I have everything cut up, ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and apply the decor bond onto my exterior pieces. So the 5.5 inch and the outside pocket that's going to be showing for the main fabric. All right, now I have my exterior pieces lined with the decor bond, with the fusible decor bond. I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling the tote. So I'm gonna grab my zipper and one of the top exterior portions, and I'm gonna line the bottom of the top exterior with right sides together of my zipper. I like my pulls on the left because I am right-handed. So I'm gonna go ahead and right sides together, put the zipper onto the bottom of the top exterior, and I'm gonna use a 1/4 inch seam and just seam right along that zipper edge. All right, once I have that complete, I'm just gonna go ahead and press this fabric away from the zipper. And now I'm gonna repeat that process for the bottom portion of the zipper. So with my right side together on top of the zipper, and this time I'm gonna be sewing to this bottom portion, so opposite of the yellow we just did. And I just wanna make sure that my fabrics line up on each side because we have a little bit of extra for the zipper. And then once again, I'm gonna go ahead and push that fabric away from the zipper, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a top stitch to keep this fabric in place where it is. All right, so right now what I'm doing is going ahead, I'm being silly. All right, so right now I've got my zipper lining piece underneath the unit we've created so far. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna line up these two outside edges just to make sure that zipper lining is where it should be. And I am lining up the top edge of the zipper with that zipper lining. And then I'm just gonna fold this back. There's a reason to this. There's a reason to my madness. I'm gonna pin in here. I really want my top stitching to look really good on the outside of the bag. So as long as as I'm sewing, grab that interior lining, then I'll be in the clear and my outside top stitching will look solid too. So I'm going to do 2 more pins just to make sure everything is where it should be. And right now, like I said, I'm making sure that that top zipper is lining up, or the top edge of the zipper is lining up with my zipper lining. So now I can feel that the fold or the zipper is pushed away from or the fabric's all pushed away from the zipper. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a top stitch, and it'll capture this fabric right here. All right, so my top stitch looks great, and I caught it's a little uneven, but to be honest, everything else is lining up down here, so it's a-okay by me. We've got my outside perimeter is all clear, so we're in the clear there. All right, from here we are now just going to attach these two pieces together with a standard seam allowance. Right. Make sure everything's caught there. And I'm just going to go ahead and press that seam open. With this decor bond, it kind of makes it a little bit more stiff, so it's easier to just press open, and then if you want to hit it with an iron quick, you can. All right, Now I'm going to grab my 2 pocket pieces and I'm going to put them right sides together. So I'm going to sew these together. I'm going to go around the outside with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to leave about 4 inches open in the center there, so that way I can flip it right side out. All right, and an easy way to make sure that your corners are nice and sharp is by just trimming these little 45s off. Do not nick the stitches though, because then you'll have holes in your corners. All right, now that I have this flipped out, I'm going to go ahead and press it down and then top stitch along this top edge, and then sew it to our back panel so we have a little slip pocket on the back side of this tote. All right, now we have our slip pocket on the back panel of our bag. Now we're going to go ahead and layer our 2 exterior panels together. And what I want you to do is go ahead, I'm actually going to put this zipper a little bit further. On the zipper is what I'm going to actually center my exterior seam on the back panel, and then just make sure that everything else is lining up and pin it well in place. So on this side as well, looking to make sure that that seam is lining up with the zipper. But you can see the below panel is going to be a little bit larger due to that zipper, and that's just fine. We can always trim it. Right now, actually trim this bottom because I want to sew from the front, so that way I can actually see where the metal zipper is, so I don't run that into that and then actually break a needle. And I'm not going to worry about this top, I can trim that after the fact, but we're going to sew the top layer, or pretty much a U shape, around the 2 sides and the bottom. And then when you get to that zipper, if you're using metal, you'll just want to lift your needle up and then just scoot past that part of your zipper. If you're using nylon, then you can just go ahead and go all out, to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and just trim off this top portion as well. All right, now that we have the 2 exterior pieces together, we're looking good on the inside. We're going to go ahead and now switch gears and go to the lining. So with right sides together, we're going to go ahead and sew them together. And the big difference here is that we are going to make sure we leave at the bottom a 6-inch opening. Okay. All right, so at this point, we're just going to set our lining off to the side. And if you want to follow the directions, you can go ahead and pop out this corner, and you're going to want to just fold it in place so your bottom seam and your side seam nest, and then you're going to want to mark a line per the instructions. I'm going to give it a go and see what happens if I just notch that out. So I think I know the magic number. Fingers crossed. I did the math, but only time will tell, or trying will tell. Yep, it's 2.5. I tried 2 1/4 and it was too small. All right. So with these 2 together, I'm just going to nest the seams and then I'm going to clip it. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew them. Perfect. All right, so now we have the box corners, which look great. Just checking on them before I do anything further, because that's the time to fix it now, is when you can see what's going on. And then we're going to do a very similar thing with the lining. So I'm going to go ahead and notch out the lining, and then we'll seam that too. So we have the box corners for our lining now. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and turn our exterior fabric, or our exterior bag, right side out. Getting close to the end, which is always exciting. And depending on what type of handles you're using, I'm using webbing, so I'm going to sew them in. Or if you're using leather, which you might want to just use rivets, pull those corners out. Alright, now is going to be when we want to base these into place. So we've got both of these. Let's see. Alright, so with our bag, now that we're using the handles, we're going to go ahead, I'm just going to fold this in half. We're going to find the center points of the front and back panel. So I just like to put my 2 seams together, and then I'm going to grab the one. Go ahead and just clip it in place, and then that way I can see by just pinching those 2 together. And on this side, we'll find me my center point. And then that way, I'll just use these as my reference of where I want my handles to be. All right, this is gonna be crucial not to twist anything. So I always like to just make sure, okay, that's how I want my handles to be. And you're gonna wanna just flip it down. So the big plan here, and I'm gonna grab, just toss them into place for right now, but it's really important, just make sure that you don't have any twists in your handles, okay? So that's kind of crinkled up, but I want to be at 3 inches away from the center point. And the same on this side. All right, I'm just gonna base these quick. All right, let's just double check handles are looking good. No twists, they're sitting how I want them to. Perfect. All right. With my bag right side out, I'm gonna put the bag inside of my lining. So right sides together. And make sure you keep your handles down to the side of the bags. All right, and then first things first, we're gonna wanna go ahead and find our side seams, match them together, and then clip. Once again, your exterior bag, or what's inside right now, is gonna be a little bit taller than your lining because your lining needs to fit into the bag and you want that to be kind of snug. All right, so I am gonna take a peek. I always like to either start on one of the seams, the side seams, or on the back of the bag, just so it hides where I start and finish with that seam, and same with the top stitch. That's what I prefer to do as well. So now what we're gonna do is we left that opening in the lining, right? We're gonna turn everything right side out through that opening. And before we turn this in, we're gonna go ahead and just get this little seam sewed together. I like to just finger press everything and maybe clip it if you need it. Up this top seam, I'm just gonna kind of just forcibly make it so that the lining fabric is actually on the inside, and then I'm gonna do a top stitch around the whole bag. And there you have it. You've got your cute little Lucille tote ready to go with a nice little fun zipper pouch. And I'll see you in the next video where I talk about prepping your quilt for a long arm quilter.